Yep.
What are we doing, Ace? But we're going to dive right in because here's the big headline from Barna. What's causing the decline of Christianity in America? Still the biggest religion in the world, but where is a decline? A steep decline is here in America. That's, I don't know about you, I find that to be highly alarming. And I would
Yeah.
like to know, because you and I agree Jesus is the answer.
Right. Well, and I actually read a book several years ago now, and maybe some have heard of it, but Unchristian. And it literally staples the fact, and sad to say, that to say the word Christian, or really any religion by name, has a negative context because people have attached either Christianity or some religion to a particular person or a church in the headlines or an evangelistic pastor who had affairs or whatever. And that's where we're missing the mark on our opportunity as faith. I was actually thinking about this today as I was reading these stats. Think about this. Think about when, like, Mark Wahlberg or, Matthew McConaughey or some big celebrity comes out about their faith, right? And they've made a big statement, but then say 6 months to 2 years down the road, they do something dumb and they get a DUI or they have an affair or whatever. And then the same group of people that celebrated them for being on this high and being open, say, yes, we finally have a poster child for Christianity again. But then they slam them as soon as they do something wrong. And then they say, well, you're in the public eye. You should be smarter about your choices. Here's an eye opener. The reason Christianity is declining is we're all in the public eye. Somebody's watching us at all times, whether it's your kids, your employers, people in your church, people in your neighborhood. There's always someone watching your actions and choices. That's where we have to remove the judgment and know that we have to lean on God to make sure we're representing him properly.
Well, the scary thing for me are these actual stats of how we are perceived. And it's kind of awful. 90% of those surveyed say their perception of evangelicals was either neutral, somewhat negative, or very negative. Here's what they think. Non-Christians think of Christians. We're narrow-minded. We're homophobic. We don't like women. We're puritanical, which means we're strict. Got the ruler out. Mm-hmm. And we're uptight. Now, this is how we feel about ourselves. Are you ready for this? How great we think we are? We think we're caring, hopeful, friendly, encouraging, and generous. Now, you know what? There's a big gap between the two. And I was out, we were doing street ministry today, and we were all talking about the football player, and all of a sudden that had the heart attack, and all of a sudden everybody's praying, and now it's okay to pray. Before then, they didn't want us to pray, and there was a lot of but here's the thing. There has to be some semblance of truth. If all of these people say this is how they perceive us, how are we feeding into that?
Yeah. Well, and I think if nothing else, and I'm going to speak at least for this duo right here, we are none of those things that you perceive Christians to be. And it's because ultimately we have been at the bottom of the barrel and had to be scraped out by the good Lord himself. So the only reason that we even are here doing what we do is because God allows us. And I think if we can understand that he wills us into the need for us, like he doesn't need us, but he wills it so that we can then have a relationship with him to deepen other people's view of who God is. Because whether you pick up a Bible and read verses that actually tell you about the things that God cares about and loves about you, that you are his creation, think about the people who have represented God in your life well. And then you want to reflect that and go, hey, I want to be able to represent God the way that my grandpa did or the way that my great-grandmother did. Because, and you and I have talked about this before on and off the air, is that there was someone in your lineage who prayed for you to now have the relationship with God that you do. And if you don't and you're still asking questions, there's someone praying for you to get there so that you have peace, so that you can then represent the way that you feel that God has been misrepresented.
You get more bees with honey, right?
Right.
And when you're a sourpuss or you want to develop an attitude about someone, or you're sure someone else is going to hell because you believe it,
yeah,
What is going to be the look on your face? What is going to be the sound in your voice? What is going to be the thing about you where people see Jesus?
Mm.
I always go back to the Foundry founder, Bill Hines, and
Yeah.
I wasn't a person of faith when I first interviewed him.
All right.
And I call it Jesus eyes. He did not condemn me, try to convert me, tell me what I was doing. It was obvious what I was all about because we had a good chat before we recorded our interview.
Yeah.
And I thought, this guy is glowing. This guy is kind. He is gentle. I want to spend more time with him. I want to learn from him.
Mhm.
And it was that I just think it's the fragrance of Christ. Hard to describe, but look at all the people Jesus encountered and he just loved them. Even the leper, the person that no one wanted to be near, and how good and gentle and kind he was, even with those sinning. The woman in adultery, the woman at the well. He wasn't about, yes, he didn't say, oh, go sin. He said, go sin no more.
Mm-hmm.
But how did he reach them? He said, see, he is the way and the truth. He is the bread of life.
Amen.
How did he reach them? By being love brought to life, the word love. And I just think we get far away from that. We get all caught up in, am I communicating it right?
Yeah.
I think we do more to display. How are we living? Is that, as you were saying, Ace, how does our life display what we feel and what our faith is all about?
Yeah. Well, and I know too, the misconception is that I have to clean up my act before I can come to God. No, you come to God so that he can clean you up. I heard a pastor tell a story one time that he had a guy ask him, hey, do I have to quit smoking pot before I can become a Christian? And pastor, without blinking, goes, no. And he goes, wait, I don't think you understand the question asked. Do I have to stop smoking this? And he pulls out this huge doob, right? And it's ready to go, right? He could go at any second. And the preacher's like, I know what that is. I'm a prodigy of the 80s. So please know that I know what you're talking about. If you have a relationship with God, or let me say this, once you have a relationship with God, the things you need to clean up, he will help clean you up. You don't go and like wipe off with, a wet wipe before you get in the shower. Well, I have to clean up. I don't want to get my tub dirty. What? I mean, there's just the absurdity. But again, it also comes from generational teaching that was misunderstood. And the Bible, beautifully as it is written, it is left for interpretation. So as simple as we can make it, just come to him and then watch the changes. It's not going to happen overnight, but to recognize you won't even recognize yourself a year from now because of the difference that God will make once he starts to clean you up.
Here's the thing. You can have sex, you can drink, you can smoke, you can do whatever it is you're doing, whatever dishonoring thing it is, to try to fill that emptiness and that gap. You know something's missing. But the only thing, other people won't fill it, shopping won't fill it, a designer outfit won't do it. The only thing that fulfills every desire is Christ. We were built that way. We were built for relationship with him. And if you don't believe us, try it. I mean, I had a lot of people try to talk to me about it, but until I said, hey, God, show me.
Are you triple dog daring us? Is that what you're doing? I'm triple dog daring you.